because
Well, you know, hey,
and that's his handwriting. Which is why I wrote this, like, wrote, and my text was like, you want it exactly like it is on here? I was like, yes.
don't forget my
Exactly.
I believe I will open
Nice.
August. Well, not August, but I'll open September with the poem. Because I always try and open
Back
with
in
the poem
1978.
about like some poetry and by someone that they regularly probably otherwise won't get a chance to hear.
What I used to do when I had teachers was I would ask the teachers who they wanted to write,
Yeah.
and then I would find a poem that I could like, and I'd do that, and I would talk about. So I got this from the guy who did that to me, and then when I came, he was like, I had sent me a Dragon Burger Corso, I forget what it was, something about this regular Corso poem, and he was like, I understand why you like regular Corso, because you're working Corso, we'll have the same urgency, and I was like, oh, what a beautiful compliment, and I was like, that's a fucking all rules guy. He did that every time. Every time they were working out the law, he fucking.
By the way,
Your best friend?
he's from Martinsville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's, oh, you didn't know him? No, I'm surprised, because he was a hell of a player.
Well, yeah, because I went to school with Lena and Belle.
Yeah, oh, so she didn't hang with you all the time.
Oh, no.
Much like when I
Oh,
was
no,
at
you
home
didn't do
until,
that.
yeah, I didn't hang with Belle people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you didn't hang with the
I
ones
was
that
never
they were,
with
yep.
the Belle boys.
Oh, yeah, no, you couldn't hang out with them. Yep.
Well, now, where were you in
I've asked
school?
people, like,
Where did you
Same class, same exact class. Uh-huh, yep. He and I had always just gotten along, you know, I was just one of the ones that, she and I were always cool and.
Yeah, you were cool in your own little.
Well, it's an ironical kind of thing, right?
Ironical?
Well, yeah,
Those
because,
words come out when he did
well,
that.
yeah,
Ironical.
but
Yeah.
because
Like
it's like,
romantical?
it's like everybody in high school, like all the women I ever fantasized about being in my bedroom, it's like none of them were ever in.
You were,
Right?
because you were related to him.
Exactly. So
That's true, Belle.
it's like, it's like reality continues because what I never fantasized about Felina being in my bedroom. She's the only one from high school that has slept in that bedroom, and that's a fucking injustice.
And she slept in your bedroom?
I'm sleeping, yeah, I'm sleeping
She was the
now.
house from Gina.
But no shit, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought you were married, you didn't try to hit that, what's your problem?
Yeah, I've never
What's your problem, Ed?
What is your, it was, if it was right there, in your bed, you can only be so neighborly till about 3 a.m. when you're like,
Okay, yeah.
what's up? Yeah.
How you doing?
How you doing? This is my bed. You want to scoot over? Not? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, when he asked me, he's like, so which room is your house? I'm like, the one all the way back on the right. He's like, oh my God, that's
Wow.
The first time she was ever in the bedroom in Salt Lake City. And we were thinking, well, it's part of the course.
Well, you know, I'm sorry she wasn't. All you had to do was ask. I'm sure she had been like, let me think about it, and then 2 weeks later she'd been like, okay. Well, shit over. You're a mole.
Yeah, you are correct, I am a mole.
No, it wasn't anything like that. She was just cool. And there was no.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, no.
she's a friend.
Kendall,
Phillips.
yeah, he me and him, like, he would kick people off the backseat of buses, like, that's Felina's seat, don't sit
Oh,
there.
wow. Good for her. Yeah, I still have never met him.
Oh, he's awesome, he's an
Yeah, I
awesome
think
guy.
And then he moved away, and I was sad that it was like 7 months later we moved to Belle.
Oh, so Kendall moved to Belle. So did you go to her? Did he hang out with Jason? Okay, because that would have been really weird. I mean, because Jason and then
Patty's from.
Kendall would have been like,
We go up to ride.
because I was
Yeah,
like,
he still messages me every once in a while on
I was like
Facebook.
that, yeah. I don't know if I'm friends with him. I might
I've
be
never
just
been
because
impressed.
I'm
Yeah.
friends with him, but
Yeah, no,
I've never met him.
Yeah. He's never been able to make it out to one of the regions
I know.
because he lives in West Virginia or something like that.
That's so
He's retired.
Right, yes, yeah.
And he was a submarine.
Oh, so
Oh.
now he could,
Yeah,
he
actually
could go
Yes,
get
he
South
started.
totally could come back.
Yeah.
and
Iowa.
visit.
Yeah, he could go get started.
Kansas, South Dakota, and
Yeah, aren't they?
Nebraska.
Next year.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
Oh, we're definitely.
we I think we have enough people, so we're gonna get started now.
Your old girlfriend's like,
Great day.
Thanks for coming, everybody. John Dorsey's talking.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, we're gonna get started now.
yes.
I'm gonna do what we normally do, and I'm gonna have the features come up, and then we'll see if anyone else comes in for the open hunt. Because we have a decent amount of people, so I'm just gonna do it that way. So I didn't map this out at all, but I just want to open with saying, like, it's great to see everybody. I was sorry that I couldn't be here last weekend for Taylor and Reverie. Nathaniel, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Greatly
He did
appreciate
a
it.
good job.
You did a fantastic
Yeah, they had nice crowds the whole time. It was really awesome. Hope that they come back soon. But I won't talk too much here because it's hot. And so hot I don't even want to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah. But so without further ado, I will just I will welcome up this next gentleman, and I use that term loosely. He is the inventor of the S. And, so, like, if you have an S put into your name by me, you can blame Jonathon S Baker. He is the author of Cock the Walk. He is one of the editors for The Grindstone. He is perhaps most importantly my friend. And it's just Jonathon, come on up here. It's great to have you.
I'm gonna read. I actually want to read some poems I wrote while I've been here in Belle this week. That was part of what I wanted to do when I came here, was just kind of get away from some things and write. And some of you may have seen these already because I need instant gratification and put them on Facebook. Of course you do. I sure do want to go play with them coyotes. I hear them yipping behind a wall of crickets. And I hear a lonely hound who wants to be inside the home of his human. Don't go, doggy. I want to tell that dog, I want to tell him, there ain't nothing out there but more loneliness, but damn, I get it, and I want to play too. I saw a tree today that looked different than it did last night. Last night it was a dragon, and it told me to breathe. But I don't know if I should trust him, because today he was just an oak. Last night that dragon bit down and stared me right in the eyes, and he told me, just relax and breathe. And then he showed me by pulling in the air and blowing lightning across the sky. And his copper scales shine like orange-colored twinkle twinkle Christmas lights. Today he was a tree, just bark and green leaves, and I saw tumorous nodes up in his branches and laying shed about on the ground below him. And I leaned in close and whispered, breathe. There is a happening taking place in the sky ahead. We stand in the road taking it in, and I look left and right to see if my friends are getting it. But Tony is shape-shifting, like a Rubik's Cube, with his sides like a man or a demon or a werewolf, never completing any one side, but instead turning and turning, with arms in 8 directions and a head that looks back. And I get the feeling he knows this gets under my skin, but if you can't handle him as an inconsistent ball of limbs, you don't deserve him as a man or a demon or a werewolf. And to my left, snow has melted, lounging like one of Picasso's women, a pile of world-weary triangles, a marionette with torn tendons. She has so much to hold up, but her frame is in another state, so she folds like sheets or taffy. I turn back to the screen, enjoying the night sky, hoping that shapeshifters can appreciate good cinema. You don't tell secrets on a farm, because the corn has ears, and the potatoes have eyes, and the beans talk. But not Blondie, that poor ex-con standing at the gate, constantly juggling bean bags and canned beans, but he never spilled the beans. He went into the system looking like an angel of innocence and soft skin, and he came out violated, blown out blue brotherhood tattoos cover his shirtless skin, and his once flawless face is scuffed, scarred, and raw. Now he juggles on the farm, and you can trade him a can of beans for a place to set up camp. He treats prison like a bad neighborhood he once took a wrong turn into at the age of 16, a place where bad people are sent to be made worse. And as he talks about it, he can't make it to the part we all knew without him crying. So, with eyes upon him reading his tattoos and face, he stops his story and starts juggling, moving so we can no longer see the signs on his body that say where he has been. And the reason we all came out here, talking about it a little bit, we put this book together. Snow did the cover. We all three wrote the poem.
I handed them out.
Tony hands them out. I lay them out in the book.
Right.
What we did was we asked some other artists, friends of ours, what their favorite pieces of artwork were, and we wrote some poems about them. So this is a poem based on a painting by Salvador Dali, The Invention of Monsters. It's called Love Affair. So you want to know what I think? I think maybe Dali could see between Bosch's panels that post-climax clarity, a sigh between panel 2 and panel 3, you know, that moment between fun and the garden. And all right, everybody, this is a raid. When all the centaurs are mopping off and feeling shame. Damn, this is good stuff. I've had better, but this is good. Do you think you can get a hold of your guy? By the way, your giraffe is on fire.
See, I'd like to hear Jason Brewer from that poem.
Yeah?
Because he's got this poem, like, where it says, how did that Billy Goat get in there? And the end of that poem reminds me of that.
I'm going to skip to these three poems from that appear in the Gasconade Review, which I just got my hands on, so I'm pretty happy to have it. Hyacinths. All these years later, I can finally say it wasn't your scent that drove me to bliss, but the fragrance of hyacinths, carried on the wind that rainy afternoon in Boonville. Hyacinths like those that grew by the front porch of the home, and I picked for my mother, and it makes me smile to think about now. You aren't the monster I remember. I was foolish for fearing you, but also unwise for ever loving you. Home defense. Between two towns where nothing happens, sat a house filled with car parts and newspapers. Bob lived inside wearing coveralls and a matted fur coat, reliving a war that broke him. Airplanes would fly real low to get a rise out of Bob. One day a crop duster buzzed Bob's old house, threading the space between the roof and the power lines, and Bob grabbed his rifle and pow! He got that plane. He nicked that pilot's thigh. Good old Bob. Fucking got that fly. Oh, I'll just read all three. Holy rolling, Batman! In 1966, a friend hands you something and says, here, take this. It'll be fun. An hour later, and you see some femme kid in a gold cape sitting inside a black Cadillac with red trim fence. Inside the What a Way to Go-Go, there's an old queen with a cape and a mask, downing orange juice and dancing until he falls on the floor. And you think to yourself, is Gotham bad, or is it just this trip?
If you're not, I'll yell at you or throw a book at you.
We'll get the hook.
We'll get the book
Yeah,
out.
we'll get the
Oh,
hook.
Billy off the stage.
Alright, I'll read one of these artsy
Oh
poems.
man, that hook
Oh,
is
no,
over there.
not one of these artsy poems.
Jonathan's getting the hook.
This is based on a painting called In the Studio that I misinterpreted when I looked at it. So this is the poem.
This is the best.
Appalachian Range. Deep in the caves of itself, the mountain worries upon legacy. Pressure to be remembered wears smooth memorial stone. Hands older than life or continents struggle to steady, losing fine detail. This is called Abraham's Boys, and I wrote this for Joe Hill. Not that he'll ever see it, but that's her. Yes, 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 boy. I see the ram. Now look here, pay attention, learn your craft. To kill the vampire, you must remove the head. Cut here in one swift movement, separating the head from the body, and releasing this evil blight from the realm of man. Here, I'll hold up the pictures. We did this, this is Rodin's, it's a thing, what's the statue called? Without me turning the book to look at it.
I can't see.
Eternal Idol.
There you go. It's called Eternal Idol.
Thank you.
By Rodin, right?
Idolatry.
It's by Rodin.
Idolatry.
Eternal S.
Bound in bronze, perpetual petitioner to unmoving metal, tormented, teased, desperate for denial. I think I'm done.
Don't just go in like that.
Don't leave like that. I like to say I think I'm done. All right.
I'll use the hook to bring you back up there too. Like.
It works both ways, Dorsey says.
Here, I'll read one more that I didn't. One day, this is called Letting Go. One day, heartbreak will feel as far from now as does the dawn of all creation. There's a bone fragment on the shelf, and the story of how it got there is as beautiful as it is awful. I promise I'm not an amnesiac shuffling through the halls, clutching onto rediscovered bits of memory, missed by the purge of evidence of a day not quite as bad as I remembered. To the uninitiated, apathy and indifference can mimic desperate longing, but I promise I'm not sentimental, just tired. There is no indigenous islander here crafting cargo cults in which airpins hold significance. There's an unused room in the basement filled with someone's belongings held in storage. It expends less energy to ignore it than to dispose of it. Some might think it's a shrine, but I promise that's no faith of mine. I'm not that superstitious. I'm a lifelong atheist. I only have an academic affinity for ancient artifacts. Aha! This is how that stupid primitive explained the warmth of sunshine, or how the moon came and went. But that ain't me. I let the things go, and they fell in heaps, but they're free to go and leave. So go on now, find a new one.
Now back to me.
John, you ready to quit poetry now?
I am ready. Done.
I figured. See, I should have let him in with that other poem. That was terrible.
Oh!
But, all right. Jesse, you want on here?
Oh, I guess.
I will hand this
I
to
guess that's
you.
what I came here for,
Yeah.
in some ways. How much of your poetry did I actually miss, bud?
I did, I read a full length, so about 88 poems.
All right, silence. Silence. All right. So let's give another round of applause for Jonathan. He was merciful and ended everything. So, all right. But with that, typically I think probably when he travels, I have this happen to me a lot. Like we wind up like closing out a show. So I'm going to switch things up here today and bring up our next reader, who is my friend. He's the author of Pity for Sale. He helps run the Bloomington Writers Guild and does many other things, including poetry on demand. Mr. Tony S. Brewer.
Oh, yes.
Don't be inappropriate. No.
So I'm sitting over there having a little nostalgic feels moment. I'm still not quite sure what I'm feeling. My sister texted me like minutes before you started reading that the guy I went to grade school with, actually went to high school with too, she sent me his obituary. And I came from a small town about half the size of Belle, and so everybody knew everybody. But I hadn't thought about him since we graduated high school. For me, like 30 years ago, until I wrote a poem about him in Homunculus. So we'll start with that. We'll see how I feel after this. This is called Hubble. We tore each other up. First grade, second grade, third grade, fourth. Mike Hubble, the Fire Club. Me, the lanky conflagration he could never put out. Hate in our brainstems. Not nearly enough space in the rainy day recess, one-horse town gymnasium. Fists, fingernails, keds, teeth. I punched him with a black walnut in my hand. He whipped my nape with a notebook spiral. 4 years, 5 years of trips to Principal Beja, who died. And then Mr. Kaufman, who retired. Fought so hard teachers gave up. Fought so long we forgot the reasons between us, relying on instinct and inertia. Once we were sentenced to stand outside the gym doors all during recess, staring each other down, nose to nose. No talking, no laughing, no smiling, no touching. Sweat beads on my temples, anger tears in his dark eyes. Carefully ridiculed by passing classmates, footsteps and giggles in our periphery. My first lesson in impotent rage. Object of derision unobtainable, yet as close as breath. He taunted with a fake kiss. I winked. Stifled smiles twist our mouths to pouts. What keeps us from swinging is fear of punishment. Yet, after so many years detaining, the attention felt like a reward. Fists, wrangling, taunts, secretive. Our sanctioned war crimes, all talk and rumor for now, waiting for time to elapse. Grown adults call this diplomacy. and he still lives in the little town we grew up in. So, just kind of wondering why I lost touch with how people are. Because once I graduated high school, I turned my back. There aren't too many people I stay in touch with, especially the ones that kind of stay, because that's how the world works. So, Mike Belle. So I too did some writing while I'm here, so I'm going to read a couple of those.
Not fair. You're better. That's not fair.
No, this one, but you wore the shirt that this one was cut out of. So,
Everybody look at the back, you can see the shoulder blades.
yeah, if you look at the back, it's like a Silence of the Lambs thing. So this was written last night at the staple party.
Yeah.
And it was kind of collaborative because everybody was in the room and everybody was talking. And I pulled up the typewriter and just started whacking away at it and just kind of recording what was in the room. So we'll do this. Nobody ever talks about the mouthfeel of a poem. Nobody talks about how when you grab that poem from a chap at a reading and duck out into an alley and stick it in your mouth and suck like on a pebble, the paper gets much smoother and pliable. The poem remains the same, but the taste lingers like battery acid. Found material in a scarecrow's pocket. Cigarette butts amid the psilocybin it takes 6 chews to identify. I don't know about you, but I don't like my overwork. ABC poems as flavorful as fruit stripe, after all the contests have been won. Someday on Pawn Stars, they will deal out the poetry equivalent of a poetry sommelier. He'll sit on his tongue for a moment, all umami, but if you like spicy, the more you write, the less you talk with your mouth full of a poem as made up as describing how someone tastes. Like cherries, say, like dark filter organs. You might see it in the night, the cook fires of garbage, tasteless poets punch over, shooting salt and sweet into the flames, raging against the night. And then this one is from, I think this is from later that night or earlier, I think this is from that morning, yesterday morning. No title yet, so. In order for something to happen, like good Americans, we have to make something happen. Mom, Dad, I'm addicted to working, and I've learned it from you, all right? Even the desiccated rest part of cancerous trees has a staff to wipe where the poopies go. I divert to the scatological when it gets stressful here in the hinterlands. Brother, sister, I am losing it. Every pocket picked in the patriotic crowded parade down Main Street, Tough Guy USA. The Bible is awesome. The Quran is awesome. The Bhagavad Gita is awesome. Shakespeare can suck it, but the acting is so good. I don't think I can quit the life of Riley at this point. Murder squads mustering at borders, all the fingers and all the honeypots. A nice quiet spot from which to observe the only empire crumbling to dust. Bet it all on fear and loathing in Las Vegas. And just my luck, Hoover Dam still stands. Mom, Dad, I am a user who lost his password. Everything I own fits inside a scarecrow's pocket. Is a line it took a lot of cash to write. No time for fart jokes now. No more distractions from the abysmal nightmare of our present. I aim to get at something real, like a stork pecking baby kisses, or storm trees slapping a house around. Welcome to Frowntown, Mary, Joseph. Safest place in the world if you like intimidation. It's on sale at the local mercantile with the cute cashier who smiles at everybody. That's why she's cute. I do not have time for cute. I am chasing grand narratives of the early graves for a generation of housing built so humanoids can scratch their backs on drywall corners. Just now, this very moment, I see a cow doing it to a tree, and I think we're gonna make it. And write that down. If I know nothing else, I know that is something that happened, and this is my job. So I too participated in the group project this week. So I'm going to read a couple of these. And I really recommend that that if you do, and you should, get the book, look up all the pieces of art. Especially the one I wanted to read, Sternenfall, Falling Stars by Kiefer. And the reason I called out now specifically, I mean, they're all in color. So that's one reason to look them up. And some of them are rather large, much larger than obviously the page. That's another reason. Sternenfall is an amazing work. Joe Hawkins picked that one. And it's like 23 feet long. It's a huge canvas. And the reason Joan picked it out is when it was on exhibition someplace she was at, she went to the museum every day for a month and just stared at like this much of it. Because it's about that thick. There's so much paint and scrapes and tears, and there's words written on it, and it's just this massive epic piece that you really have to get up close to see. And I went looking for it online, and then you have to really zoom in to get an idea of how much detail. So this is called After Sternenfall, which is Falling Stars by Kiefer, and the title is Over Your Cities, Stars Still Glow. Bird scratching at the wall, inmate desperate in gas chamber, sick and sallow, barking days till across the gloom spears of light pierce unfathomed night. Still confined to cagey earth, fooling with libertine news, the dark arch of heaven meets its match in worker shoes, sparks it up, rough souls looking never new. Get big like sky. Be a map of meaning. Numbers signify. More than names, survivors, or charts of stars who will never go away, wink out, or fall. Some spent poetic term for a lifetime. I also want to read from here Caravaggio. I'm a big Caravaggio fan. And we did Sacrifice of Isaac and the Uffizi version, which I thought was interesting because there's different versions of it. There's different versions of the same painting. And for some reason, I forget whose. Do you remember whose it was?
No. Oh, wait, like who the other artist?
No, who gave us that was the big
Oh, who
painting.
gave us that? That was Ed.
Okay, yeah, I thought so, yeah. So this was Edge's contribution to it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, I should have said.
Yeah, so there's different versions of it. We picked this one for some reason. And I will say that some of them I just looked at and made the poem. Some of them I did a little research on because I was a little lost on, not lost, but
Yeah, started.
I just wanted to read more. I wanted to find out more about it. And so, well, it's in the poem. So this is, so the title of this one is For a Few Lira More You Get Snuff Film. Isaac's model, Checho, knew exactly how to hold himself down helpless. So Abe could do it all day, knife a shiny smile of sting in his eye. We go deep to pull art out of violence when what we need are police reports. Rattle off details to strangers who've heard it all before or seen it said to themselves, nodding furrowed brows in your behalf. The Lord or someone like him threatens with hyper-real hands while correspondents transmit what the muse says is good, the way your brain's eye likes the way the Lord needs obedience. The drama only acting as angel can hold back. I want to read a couple out here. This came out in May from the Grindstone. For the fine folks at the Grindstone, you should talk to them. You should meet them sometime. They might even come to Belle sometime. But it's Jonathon S Baker, C.S. Matthews, the Grindstone. The C.S.S. Matthews, excuse me. Thank you, John S. Dorsey. That's right. So I'm going to read a couple from here. Oh yeah, this one. This is byproduct of divorce number 87, the laundromat. This guy is folding his socks by the front loaders. His tattoos read like restraining orders. All the names are on neighborhood watch lists and he looks like he's been crying. He does a poor job ignoring a sorority sister, turning her white panties pink and giggling into a phone. Mom may have scrimped and pinched her into college, but it's daddy's money dressing her now. They tell everyone how much everything costs. I hold the door open for myself and my basket and soap, feeling the way a house feels after the inside has been wrecked by a storm or the water's gone down after a flood. I resist the urge to throw it all away, but everything I own is unclean. A young boy sits down next to me on the year-old magazine-strewn bench. His mother has him in her eye. She is waiting for his misbehavior. She needs him to act up. He says he doesn't have a daddy, as if it's still news to him. His life broken down into desires for what he has or has not. Ice cream, PlayStation, enough space to run. He is just old enough to take steps towards satisfaction. Quarters, detergent, cold, don't overload, and then dry, fluff and fold, and ding! Clean sheets as warm and soft as cookies right from the oven. Everybody likes sliding in between clean sheets. But Mama tells him not to bother me. He's reading, she says. It's okay. But she orders him to her side anyway. He jumps up and runs and nearly makes it to the parking lot with an empty laundry cart. All he wants is to get closer to the dull-winged bookie parked at the audio shop over there. He takes his belt off so his shorts droop like the big boy's pants do, his Spider-Man flip-flops slapping his feet in time with the beat of ludicrous vibrating windows from across the street. It's a song he says Mama likes. He knows all the words, but Mama doesn't smile. Far away from her is where he says he's going, pushing that cart all the way. She thinks he'll never get there. Not in that. But he is already there. Next time he won't come back. Let's see. And with something. Oh, any of those. We'll end with this one. This is from Pity for Sale. We'll do the titular poem from Pity for Sale. It's called Pity for Sale, and I wrote this. After a Lawrence Ferlinghetti poem called Pity the Nation. Pretty well known Ferlinghetti poem, Pity the Nation. And it's got a little dedication epigram, whatever you call it, called After Gibran. Khalil Gibran, the prophet dude, right? Everybody's got that book. So this is called Pity for Sale, After Ferlinghetti. The beast who has no country, its fuzzy, swollen appetite, hardwired love of candy. Pity the window, gladly accepting so many waves of heat and hand, fogged with condensation of desire. Pity the vegetable in its untouchable packet, disguised as itty-bitty seeds that are mere possibilities. Pity the failed backup, make it new. Pity the ambulance, so lonely it stalks my next-door neighbor twice this year alone. Alone. Pity the billionaires in love with zeros. No, fuck those clowns, right in the zero. Pity the worker who identifies with a king. Pity the tree dragged down by sweet honeysuckle, the red buds pinking the woods, telling us it is time. Time. Pity the time it takes to feel, the time it takes to unfeel, to unlearn, to unlove, to unseal. Pity our ranks and forms, a slot for everyone when we all would be better off marked other. My country, 'tis not insane, but copes horrendously. Sweet land, sweet liberty, ask any busy bee. Thanks. CSS Matthews and Jonathon S Baker for being here. Yeah.
Tony, thank you again. Let's give a round of applause to these fans.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a really great job. Better than any poem I've ever heard. All right. I'm gonna announce a few events that we have coming up. I'll let Bernadette talk about this too, but I will just make a basic announcement for it right now. Tuesday, July 25th at 6 p.m. We will have a rare musical event here. I'm hoping that musical events become less rare because I'd like to have as many as we can. I don't know these folks. Krista Chapman Green and Louis Doral. I probably slaughtered that guy's name, and Bernadette will do a much better job. But Tuesday at 6 o'clock. If you're not doing anything, want to listen to some music, please consider coming on out. Beyond that, August 12th, Caitlin Jones, who is Belle's current sitting City Poet Laureate, will be here as a featured reader with along with Donna Featherston and Mac Thorne. If Mac comes, I have to track him down and see how he is. I'm going to call up our next reader in a second. I just want to say for anyone who is interested, I saw Jason Reberg on Wednesday. In addition to my own appointment at the cancer clinic, I went and visited him as well with Justin Ham. And Jason, he said a few things that really excite me. One of which he said he's never touching booze again. Which I never in my life thought I'd hear him say. And also, he was talking about when he wants to be back here at OAC. and he was getting very specific about when he wants to do that. At this point, that's not really up to him, but let's cross our fingers that he gets his wish and he can be back here as soon as Steve wants to. So with that, I will thank Mark first off before I forget, because I have a tendency, like when it gets hot. So I want to thank Mark and Tony for allowing us to use this lovely space. If you had seen it when we were getting started, you wouldn't even believe that this is the same building. So thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for letting us do this. Thank you to the Friends of Belle Library, which is the tenant for the building, and whose mission we go about raising funds for. And so I also want to say that there are books on these shelves. If anyone wants to buy books, they can do that tonight while they're here. If anyone wants to get a copy of the book that Tony and Jonathan and Snow worked on, it is out on the table out there. And I'm sure that they will be more than willing to sell it to you. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring up our third featured reader. I have to admit, I had an ulterior motive. I'm bringing Snow up last because I was hoping that she would read her St. Elmo poem for me, because I would like to hear it. And so, without further ado, I'm just going to call up Snow Matthews, CSS Matthews, like whatever you want to know her by. She's delightful, and she's one of the editors of the Grindstone, along with Jonathon S Baker. She's the better end of that partnership as far as I'm concerned. But without further ado, Snow Matthews.
My phone is all types of fucked up, so I brought everything up on my laptop for today, and I'm hoping that this is stable enough. I'm gonna go ahead and start off.
In the middle. Bring your laptop a little further. There you go. Keep going.
I'll actually start off with a couple pieces. I think it should be good.
You're in the middle now.
Yeah,
Keep
I
going,
think it's
go more to
okay
this
now.
way.
Yeah,
There we go.
but it's all right.
So I'm just being extra with this shit. But anyway, I'm gonna start off. Jesse is one of the editors for this book that I was a part of this anthology. It's Happy Plastic Presses, Not Ready for the River Styx. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with a poem from that. This is Consume. 2 a.m. and there's this feeling, maybe zen, from being 3 bottles in and hydrating to a degree of sentience. Revolutionary, the need for aqua. The hunger seems to grow when you feel empty. Sober despite for weed and liquor. Is this nirvana? You desperately think making Mac in the house unaccompanied, save for snores, and yeah, this is heaven. The space between sober and self-aware, where you've been wandering, hoping, being forced to face sparsity, usually hiding behind the drink and reason. But God is in the off-season, and you're smart, stirring your off-brand pasta at 3:30. What's the point of living if all we live for is to consume? Is there a deeper meaning to the cosmos behind grinding jaw and apathy? A pathos of passive, go with the flow, the eternals was good, actually crowd? Fuck. That joke aged faster than the water took the boil, and now you're watching an Ice Age sequel trying to recapture youth, but it felt like to be 8 in New Mexico when Indiana Jones' collector spoon was everything and your father is dead. So you consume. Faster than you can process the grief, you are busy learning thermodynamics to understand how a body can disappear. Magic. And your mother tells you that she's always here. Tragic. The way age strips you of universal constants, leaving you with Kraft Mac and the Mandalorian, the memory of always being better than the moments. So you consume. All the things that numb you, make you acquiesce to the fact that it's 4 a.m. and you don't know where you are, despite having everything planned at 16. You are alone in a house full of roommates and sleeping in the same bed you had at 12, before the fire, before you cut yourself to feel. The only difference being that you have tits and human hair and insurance settlements, with the shittiness of existence. So you sigh, turn off the water, and pray to a God that stopped being real 10 years ago, that everything will be okay, makes sense in some way, but your pot is boiling over. But yeah, so we made this book here on a printing press from 1886, was it? And thereabouts. And I carved this cover. It took me like 90 hours to carve. It was a bitch and a half. but I'm really proud of how much work you put into this, and I'm really grateful to my co-contributors. Everyone give them another round of applause, please. I'm going to read a couple poems from this. The first one is After the Invention of Monsters by Dawkins. A fascist facilitates scarcity, deserted absurdity, absently asking questions no one dares answer. From both at the end of the world, sell me instead, I'll tell you a story. No one prepared for the debutante bride to piece out flowers on the onslaught of Calvinistic Calvaries coming up from valleys devoid of light. And Sacrifice to Isaac. Falter not in faith, cut that filth from your son, the red stain that permeates his body, the sin flowing. Let him be made a Christ's offering, the Pharaoh's firstborn, the pillar of faith in young bones for a love of a dead child. Left out to rot at my altar. Put none before me but your blade, or I'll level your city. Call it a plague, drown the earth, call it good. So I have a couple of poems from a book that will never come out that I wrote for my wife. Yeah. It's called Zaki, which is the initial name of one word for love. I'm gonna read a couple from that. You stopped me in the street to tell me of how, in looking up at high buildings and backing away, you felt the foundation give away and these lofty space crash around you. And in backing away, I feel the panic. Your hand in mine. You don't fucking kiss me. And the buildings, the roofs are scaled with shingling older than the streets we stand on. Sleeping dragons who roar awakens on streets deserted as we kiss, straddling the yellow line. It's more exciting that way. And my back is against the chains of a construction site where a dragon was slain to make way for a building with a monopoly's name. The world has ended and we're all that remains. Buried in Ukraine. I woke up early to read of the bridge bombed, blown up by its own as I held you. Thought of the Russian soldier telling his wife to bury him in Ukraine. And you bury your lips in mine. I say good morning, but I'm dehydrated, sleep deprived, from talking to strangers afraid for their lives. I play with silver in your hair. The street that divides the lines of armored cars circling Kiev. And Mariam cries in the distance as he breathes shallow. You didn't eat last night. We just smoked ourselves numb. But the reports keep coming, and I know the war is here. Eventually, this book will come out between Jonathan and I. We're rewriting it. Matthew Spawn, it's Coyote from Don't Mind the Wolf. The dealer lays a hand, cards black, card backs red and yellow glow, a smiling dog, head gray, pointed ears. Hit me. The John slaps the back of a downturned Jack, sitting in old-fashioned braids dangling. The dealer shoots a smile card, catches the John in his cuffs with the queen. The house falls. On his way home, the John finds himself barely awake behind the wheel, nearly hits the dog, but finds the brakes. He stares at the mangy gray mass as it stares back. Moon a backlit to the headlights. Desert a barren thing. John slaps the horn. The dog swears defiant. Hit me. So he does, then rocks his head into the wheel as he rolls his eyes open to see the dealer shuffle out another round. Smiling dog faces reflect in security cameras. Hit me. He's back on the road, Resmut dead behind him, the car is rolling and he's looking over his shoulder. Hit me! The John spins to see the dealer's back in front of his car and slams on the brake. Hit me. The whisper from behind. He spins to see the felt top cards falling. Hit me. And comes the Coyote from the passenger seat. And John knows it's Coyote in the quiet way all Indians do. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and read a couple more from the laptop, and I will find that one for you. I didn't have it planned out, so I'll definitely find that one for you though. Alright, so
I like to put people on the spot.
alright, so it's a few more from here. This one's called The Moon Will Be Born. The earth laid the moon through trauma to hit its fuck, and the world shook. Orgasmic debris compiling into an age that grows more distant. The moon is waiting to be born, to shake gravitational umbilica. Mothers hold trauma in their hips from every hit that left them crying out. Pain and pleasure are exchangeable when pain is all you know. The moon has been breached, penetrated by probes. I think she will shatter. Small bits of pre-Earth coming home only to burn at their mother's embrace. They both remember the trauma. Billions of years evaporate in a moment, codependency pulling each other, but Luna is pulling harder. Slowly slipping away one step at a time, the moon will be born, hatched from its shell of gravitational abuse, breaking the repetitive cycle. One day the tide will sit still, and that gives me hope. Satellites. I was staring at the sky, trying to distract myself as you sat next to me, distracted yourself. That satellite flew by, lazily drifting, and it struck me how often I see them now. Like when I was young, my ex-stepfather worked as a contractor for NORAD, and he took me to a missile defense silo out in Yoder, Colorado. We sat for hours, waiting for one of them to come close enough to see with that government telescope. I was so amazed at the sight to see them. I see them daily now, and it strikes me how slowly they seem to move. Knowing that they are going faster than 7,000 miles per hour to stay in orbit. Funny how distance affects time. Like when we make love, 8 hours feels like 30 minutes. But now we're sitting here and your cigarette has been burning for eternity. I guess this is relativity in action. Like Einstein's perception of reality in space. But space is just a measure of distance over time, and time is relative, dilating in the face of void, drawing out. Your cigarette is burning, light drawn to void of space, time, and perhaps this moment is dilating. In a liminal space where words used to exist, now silence. As your cigarette stretches through space into time, dilating to the point of me remembering 15 years back, when there was less satellites in the sky and we were continents apart. I read somewhere that soon there would be too many satellites to safely leave this planet, that we would be stuck here. I've never much wanted to leave, but I guess there's comfort in options, coffee or suicide, and there's something unnerving about the space being full of trash. So, I have 2 more poems that are on my phone, and one of them is for John. I'm going to save the last one for last. I just need to find this really fast, so if everyone could just join me in the Jeopardy theme song, that would be really helpful.
Oh my God.
Wait, are you saying the last one for last or the one for John for last?
The last one for
Oh,
last.
that's
Yeah, I just need to find the one for John for last.
You're the first one.
Oh, but I want to close on that one.
She wants the last one to be last.
I'm not hearing Jeopardy, people. It's gonna take a second.
Oh, you picked the long version, okay.
You talk about the prizes that everyone receives at the end.
Oh, yeah. Tell them what they won, John.
What's the prize?
Car.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants. I would like the ceramic dog with the quarter patch. Remember that?
I remember those.
I would like the ceramic dog with the quarter patch. I would also like the couch.
I want the keyboard.
I would like the keyboard, please.
Do you remember they had the
That's
karaoke?
real
It was like
Wheel of Fortune. I remember that. Did we take out their prize?
Yeah, you buy the prizes with the money.
Back.
I don't think the rest of the gift card.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
Remember, there was always that ceramic dog, and every so often somebody would want that. I'm like, why not? Why not? Right ceramic dog.
Alright, here we go. Alright,
Yay.
so
This is the prize.
See, now there's an added expectation about this poem because it took a while, so it's got to be amazing.
We're on the edge of our seats.
That's right.
I read this one last time I was here. Was that a year ago or 2 years ago?
It's been a while.
It's been a little while since I last saw you. Alright,
Yeah.
so anyway, this is St. Elmo's Fire. There are stories of fires that dance across the bows of ships and tempestuous storms, casting ghost light on the damned as men frantically fight to right the sinking vessel to survive. St. Elmo's Fire. It's also the name of a song that plays in victory, though so many ships failed, crews died beneath those ghost lights. Am I alive? When in early light I see spectral orbs dance about me. Is it in my eyes? The halo that forms around me, perhaps a distortion of the very air, and in closing my eyes I see it imprinted there on the insides of my lids, pulsing. Rhythmic in its absolution, I often wonder if I can hear it, a soft hum of particles excited into motion, or if I'm merely breathing. I often can't tell if I breathe, if air exists. Is it all just in my mind? If I still myself long enough to resist the urge to inhale, ghost lights will appear, growing strong every second until my vision is filled with light and darkness. It's beautiful. Are there realities beyond this? Were the spectral flames but guides that called sailors into night, bright with stars as the water replaces air, if air was ever there, until they saw true beauty? Why won't my body let me go there? Do I need a flaming guide to the other side? Would drowning do? There has to be something better than this. So, I wrote a poem, well here, I wrote a few, but this one, I just wanted to read to y'all. Sometimes I look out and see people doing what I do, not getting rich but getting by, making craters with every footfall, and it gives me hope. That one day I'll make a living doing what I love instead of killing myself to make a rich man richer. That I'll stop losing my hearing on the job, and the spiderweb veins marking my legs will disappear. That I'll never be broke again, or feel ashamed for saying no and losing a tip, being laid on rent for myself and my disabled mom. That's not, that no pandemic will leave me homeless, because tips can't get you a decent unemployment and taxes always fuck you. But I see you, in Jersey and St. Lou, and Belle in Albuquerque. I see you at the bar every third Tuesday, and you give me hope, and I think Bill would be proud too. Thank you.
I actually had thought about reading a poem tonight myself, but I cannot get it to pull up on my phone. There was a terrible girl at the Belle Fair who, you know the thing where you can win goldfish in a plastic bag? Like, I really wanted to win one really badly, but there was this girl there, like, her boyfriend had won it for her, but she just stood there, like, flicking the bag because she had no respect for other forms of life. So I wrote a poem about her called "The Goldfish Is Gonna Die Tonight." But I can't pull it up. So next time I'm here, I will read that poem. But so, Mark, do you have something you want to say?
You want to read this?
There we go.
John, you want to read it here?
Oh, there it is. You have it.
Yeah,
It's your Facebook.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You posted on Facebook, so it's right
All right.
there.
Well,
I want to hear it. Yeah.
it's not flattering to this girl at all.
I liked it.
But she doesn't know. She doesn't want to know me. I don't want to know her. That's fine.
Nobody cares.
All right. So this is called "A Goldfish Is Gonna Die Tonight." A guy covered in grease, wearing a hat for the local body shop, stands by the Ferris wheel at the town fair, holding a plastic bag filled with just enough water to keep a single goldfish on life support. As his girlfriend yammers on about funnel cake and how what she really wanted was a pink teddy bear, sipping a light beer and Daisy Dukes 2 sizes too small, with thighs like fried dough, while using her free hand to flick the bag with her fingers, to recreate some sort of backwoods generational trauma, where everyone gets smacked around. She keeps flicking her fingers just long enough to make waves, just long enough to make you rethink feminism, as you wait for a Prince cover band that only knows a few Charlie Daniels songs. Sometimes we all end up in the wrong place, drunk to the gills. We just dive right in. Whoever that bitch was, that was for her. All right, so Mark.
Thanks, Jack. Just what is that new project? The new project. Thank you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mark McLean. I'm the executive director for Osage Arts Community, and John did such a great job of navigating who owns the building and what happens to the building. It's a little complex, but this project is a culmination of ideas that were created a year or two ago by these talented artists that we've been celebrating today. there was also something else that happened with this project. Snow was mentioning, it was created on a CP press, which is 100+ years old. That press is owned and lives in Osage Arts OAC Press print shop. They created the complete project that OAC Press did in the print shop. So I really wanted to say thank you for that. It's just one more milestone of this document, of this work, that they were here and they went back to Indiana and they worked on it. They came here for a residency for a week. Their objective was to do this, and they created it. So what you've been hearing is a culmination of a whole year or two. So it's I just wanted to frame it that way because it's more than just one more thing that they've created, and they've been sharing a lot tonight. So I just want to say thank you for honoring us with that. And we started a tradition about a month ago at the bookstore here. OAC, Osage Arts Community purchased a large format printer, and that's what all these posters are for outside. So that tradition started, and John Dorsey does all the programming here, and I just did my best to create all the print of all those posters. Well, the tradition that we're going to start now is we're going to frame the posters for the features that we're writing that are here, and we're going to have you guys sign this, and these are going to live here in the bookstore for a while.
And Jonathon S on his forehead.
Well,
Don't forget the S.
So some of you that have had book releases here in the past, we might have might be able to create posters from that. Because I don't want to short you on that. So if you know that, please come talk to me. We'll get that going. But this is a tradition we're going to start tonight, and more than just posters that end up on the market in town and get tossed away. They're going to start living in this bookstore to celebrate what happens in here. So, thanks for
Thank you again, Mark. I want to say one thing about my poem that I didn't say when I finished up. I hope that girl gets swallowed whole by a shark. Also, I want to add to what Mark was saying that I was saying this to Tony and Jonathon and Snow. I hope that we get to the point with the print shop that it will be so booked up that you have to reserve space to be there. That's my dream, is that we get to that point, and I hope that we do. On that end, if anyone wants to do a print-related project, talk to Mark about that, or you can talk to me about that too, but you have to sort of know what you're doing because we don't want you to lose any fingers. So there's that, and a Chandler and Price can be a very dangerous, beautiful thing. I'm going to ask, has anyone else come in that wants to be on this open mic list that is not presently on it?
You shot it.
What's going on? All right. Okay, so without further ado, since we don't have a ton of open mic people, I'm going to bring the open mic people up. We normally take a break in between. We're just going to do these few folks, and then you guys can go out there and talk to Tony, talk to Jonathon, talk to Snow. You know, for me, when I go someplace and then I think people get intimidated and they don't end up talking to the readers in a lot of cases, and then that's just an even more awkward situation. So we're all friends here. So when those guys go out, give them a hug, talk to them about their books. It's all a good time, and this has been fantastic. Again, I want to say this coming Tuesday, 6 o'clock, we will have a music event here at Barb's Books. And then August 12th at 6 p.m., Caitlin Jones, Donna Featherston, and Mac Thorne will be here. even if I have to prod Mac Thorne myself, he will be here. All right. So without further ado, I'm just going to start calling up the people that are on the open mic list, and I will begin with Mark. It's great to have you here.
I apologize. This is the first time I've been here this summer, and I really enjoy these events. So sometimes shit happens or life happens. I remember that. The first poem I'm going to read is entitled Too Many Books, and it's T-O many books. When I first wrote it, I had T-O-O many books, and when I posted on Facebook, I forgot the second O, and I'm like, oh hell, that works really well. Too many books. So this is Too Many Books for Station Julianne. I heard a woman tell her husband, "You have too many books." I just didn't understand. One simply cannot have too many books. Books feed the soul like a tender steak dinner feeds the body. But books will never add an inch to your waistline, so read all you want. Books quench our thirst for knowledge like fine wine quenches our desire. But books will never harm our liver, so read all you want. I have books on my shelf that I have yet to open, but I know they're there like a new friend, waiting to take me on some adventure when I'm ready. Too many books? I call BS on that strange notion. As long as I have or can build more shelves, I will never have too many books. Former English teacher, so you can't have too many books. I'm going to read this one. I asked John if it was okay. It's dedicated to John Dorsey. It's entitled Fight Man Fight. They removed my dad's eye when the cancer moved into his brain, and we called hospice to help him pass. Seeing you with your eye covered and gone, I can't help but pray for healing and comfort as you fight to survive. And still, I see your strength and your desire for yet one more line to share your fight with the world. When I first started coming over here and I met John, I think at the point you had written 900 poems that last year. At that
Last
point?
year, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Last year
And
was crazy.
I'm like, hell, I'm an amateur. This one's entitled A Place to Rest. We come each spring to clean this small plot on the hill where so much of our history resides. Just 5 graves are in this chain link, but they represent shared roots of a much larger tree. We work to preserve this spot and tell stories of days gone. Then we go our separate ways, rejuvenated for another year, when we will return again to pay our respect to those who came before. I mentioned I was an English teacher, and one of the things I always taught my students was, you can write about things that didn't happen to you. Not everything has to be autobiographical. This one's not autobiographical. For the record, this is entitled Defeat. Clapton sang, "Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven?" As I finished my second bottle of bourbon, with tears tracing down my face, I hurled the empty bottle at your picture on the wall, cursing you and nursing my anger at the breasts of depression and regret. And it's not autobiographical because I don't drink bourbon. and that didn't happen. Anyway, when I finished reading it at Gumbo Bottoms the other night, I said to John Freeland, I said I didn't read an elegy because I write a lot of elegies. So I will end with this one. It's entitled Scott. As you lay dying on that bed, I thought back to when we were both much younger. You sat so proudly on the back of Saddle Tramp in your brown cowboy shirt, a straw Stetson. The smile on your face told the world of your confidence. I let my mind drift a few years, and you stood at attention with tears streaming down your cheeks as a bugler played the military farewell to your Uncle Robert. You stood in salute, showing your love and reverence for this bigger-than-life man. Then you were there on the banks of my pond as my family all camped for Memorial Day weekend. I recall the exaggerated look on your face when Thomas caught that whopper of a catfish. You carried on about the 6-inch fish, and Thomas's chest swelled with pride. Then, in your fashion, you chose a teaching moment for my 10-year-old son. You showed him how to gut and skin the fish and how to wrap it in tinfoil with salt, pepper, and butter and cook it in the campfire. He looked like a king eating his favorite meal, and you smiled that shitty grin of yours the whole time. Just a decade later, the bottle had taken over, and you were different in so many ways. However, if I came to visit Mitch when you were there, you would have that same shitty grin on your face, and you said, "Well, Marco, what are you doing here?" And now they will carry you to the same hill where Robert rests, and I will choose to remember the boy on tramp with a shitty grin on his face.
I also wanted to add an announcement for one of our other readings around the region, which is to say that initially Gumbo Bottoms Ale House, which we all know in Jefferson City, which is owned by Steve, who is a lovely, lovely human being. August, they were only supposed to do an open mic, but when I saw Justin Ham on Wednesday, he said he always wanted to read at Gumbo Bottoms, so he will be their August feature now. So.
And that'll be August 7th.
Yeah. And Justin has, he's been kind enough to read here on multiple occasions. He's a great, great person. So if you can catch that, please do. So next on my list is my good friend and recent traveling companion and all-around good guy, Ken Murphy.
Thank you, John. I'm going to read 3 poems. 2 of them are mine. I guess you'd say one of them is borrowed. So, yeah. Years and years and years ago, I had a good friend who lost her father to cancer, lung cancer, and it did not stop her from smoking 2 packs a day. So, a wave of the hand. The sense I see within my haze remains obscure to you in all your clarity. On the one hand, nearly half my life lies before me. In my other hand, I hold that which took his life. Washing my hands of it, snuffing it out, means facing that he is gone. Its connection to that time, a father's vice, passed on to his daughter, brings needed comfort and outweighs the harm it causes me. There is time enough to shed my reliance upon it. There will never be enough time to recover from what I've lost. So forgive the wisp of smoke as I talk with my hands. I prefer that all not be so clear, surrounded as I am by this haze. This is a short one. Removal. Not so much the undesirable, which can seem impossible, even beyond your control. Consider yourself. Value yourself. Know yourself. Your self-worth, your peace of mind, your own well-being. Then, and only then, extract yourself from the undesirable. And here, now for the borrowed. I decided I want to write a cento using lines from Jason Reber and 15 of his poems from Standing at the Intersection of Critical Mass and Event Horizon. So this is that. More or less. One was finally succumb to the hard realization, waking you in the middle of the night, a thought with a tiny drop of truth. Something one waits around for. It's the same ritual every time. A dream of suddenly waking from a dream. The stars, the spirits of your ancestors, or whoever, just beyond the horizon. Suddenly materializing before you, it flutters moth-like, from dark corners between blind faith and forbidden knowledge, rescued, reconstructed, and rehabilitated. No one could possibly predict what happens next. We cannot always discern with the highest degree of probability. It may transmortify into just about anything. The universe does provide something one waits around for, more or less. But nothing to get too excited about.
I want to thank Ken for mentioning Jason Reberg again, and thank him for reading his poem. I just want Jason, who has really been paying attention now because he uses his computer, to know that we love him and that we're thinking about him, because I have every indication in the world that he probably is going to end up watching this video. And as much as I give him shit, he's truly one of my best friends. And so I want to say that I'm in the midst of organizing a Jason Reberg night. I got his okay. He gave me a thumbs up to do an evening where everyone just reads Jason Reberg poems. He said that we all had to wear hats like him. So I'm going to have to find as many as I can, but we're probably going to end up doing that in Jefferson City. I thought about, because we love him in Belle, and I want to send that love out into the world at a little bit further distance, and I'm trying to think of another place where we can do it. So it'll probably be Jeff City, but I'll keep everyone posted. If you want to be involved, please let me know if you want to read. But it's not about you, it's about Jason, so we will be reading his poems, not yours. Just be aware of that. Without further ado, I will just bring up the last person on our open mic list for this evening, and that is Jesse. It's wonderful to have you here with us.
I'm going to read a couple out of my book, The Kiss of Complicity, and a couple of newer ones that aren't. So, I don't know why everybody's reading poems about their dads. I don't know why I keep writing poems about my dad. He's a shithead.
Yeah.
He's literally one of the most selfish people I think I've ever met in my life. He cares much more about his stuff than me. And I know that I really disappoint my parents because, there's something about being very trans and disabled and bohemian that they're just not into. But yeah, when I was living with them, he eventually decided that he was gonna stop slapping us around and screaming at us. But it took a very long time, too long. And because I'm the oldest kid, it definitely took too long. So I'm going to read a poem about what happened when he didn't like how I treated the remote for his new television. It's called The Television Episode. 1. Previously on this show, booms the announcer as father and daughter bicker in montage, raging pantomimes, pointing, stomping, their lips staging syllables in hyper-focus. Up from the garble of voices rises her resignation. Fine. You use the television. I don't want to. The images vanish from the new 60-inch flat screen. The shot slows, stumbling toward the close of the recap. Her hand blocks the remote to the couch. His face freezes. The transitional symbols clash. The screen goes sepia. 2. In the dying notes of theme music, floodlights go up. Time and color resumes. The father's eyes narrow. His face purples. What did you just do? You fucker! You don't throw my shit! Understand me? She sighs. Takes 2 steps stage left. He blocks her. His spit clings to the camera lens. You walk away and I will punch you upside the head. I'll spend the night in jail. I don't care. 3. The scene replays in every room of the set. He circles the kitchen table. He pounds on the basement walls. Don't you ever touch my television again! Hear me? She is cornered between him and the bathtub. He yanks her hair. His other hand is hovering. He recites his cue cards of threats until the camera shifts and the daughter's eyes edge around his shoulder. The sound guy is missing. She searches for a mute button, like the one she can't touch anymore. 4. It's dark. The set is quiet. switches to the daughter's face, flat screen, daughter again. The picture leaps behind her puffy eyes. Piano music in minor announces a series of hazy frames. The father hugging the flat screen, eating across from the flat screen, driving his car with the flat screen, riding shotgun, tucking the flat screen's massive frame into bed. 5. The shot recrystallizes. The daughter's head is in her hands. There are no end credits. Finally did something that I should have done a long time ago and actually updated the OkCupid page that I never used so I can stop catfishing straight guys. Because I have a lot of attention from straight guys on that profile. It's super weird. And finally, one of them was somebody I already knew from school. And I was like, okay, there's something you should probably know. Like, you know, like this is not a viable relationship for you, my dude. And like, speaking of like not viable relationships, like it's weird that OkCupid gives you like really high match percentages for people that there's just no chemistry with. Obviously. Like it's like 75% or higher. I don't know what this algorithm is. But, you know, so this was about one of those exchanges that I had a few years ago. It's called Profile Pictures of Jared, one of my matches on OkCupid. He doesn't want me to see the slant of his eyes. Those don't mean he's desperate. And the fact that the meager street light outside the window is brighter than his smile is just a coincidence. And like all good old boys from Texas, Jared knows wife beaters aren't that bad if they're black. Abs are the answer to everything, proving that his pelvic bones or his hard and downslope is his broken bathroom door handle without, of course, displaying his penis is classy. And he's flexible, not just in his guitar fingers, but in what he'll do for me. They'll ask, are you okay with kinky? And when I say, depends on the kink, my wife dresses as a small child and I think it's hot. He suddenly forgets that he told me he's a dom. I can dress up like a sissy for you, and I see the creases in his clavicle jammed in his salmon lace number, and I grimace worse than he does in his pictures. The Hulk meets Pippi Longstocking, and nobody wins. Time to tell Jared what I'm really doing here. I haven't had sex with a man in years. Here's the thing. My profile says pansexual because of one guy. One. And it ain't you, hotshot. I gotcha, he goes. But I'm mainly curious about pegging. I Google it, and all I see is pixelated beige in a video. Could be skin of someone's something. Language barriers, square pegs, round holes. I'll drop in the word lumpen proletariat, and imagine him not Googling that. The one guy I actually wanted would laugh at that, and we daydream about the revolution while our sweat communed on the pillows. I don't want to strap on a penis and ride Jared. I want Jared to strap on longer legs, a Jufro, more Marxist brain, does the slit show in my eyes, and just be the one guy. I didn't pick this tie on purpose this time. I'm reading the Don Quixote poem, but not because I'm wearing this tie. It's because it's one of the only ties I own.
Okay.
But I will never forget when you interrupted that after party. It's just like, wait a minute. That's Don Quixote on your tie. Yes, it's a print of.
I think those,
Yeah.
on OkCupid, I think those percentages though are based on how likely are you to kill that person.
Oh man, I must be homicidal. Like I can talk to people with very high ones. All right. Don Quixote tried and failed again to conjure his princess from the swirling pastel petals in his brain. His Dulcinea left her excuse on the gave her excuse on the phone, left him to his inane rage, tore off his love and labor like cheap bangles or out-of-fashion earrings as she ran. And as he sits here, feeling dull, bent, and dirty like an overused hoe, he feverishly feeds off the memories of that elusive summer. He carried garbage bags of her clothes from her mother's flooded manhole house to her apartment. He'd attack the loose blanket stuffing on her floor as if it were an actual giant with her on when he scrubbed out her cabinets and drawers and made sure every single spoon, brownie pan, and stupid can of black-eyed peas was exactly where she wanted it. But neither of the roles was quite right. She kissed him with too much teeth and seemed scared to touch him. And he still seethed in his reflection. And when she stroked his shoulders and called him sir in bed, it thrilled him, but it felt like they were actors in a chivalry play. Now that it's over, now that sovereign lady slips back into slobbered on lady, she returns to her piles of dirty clothes she won't wash, and he returns to the problem of himself. And what bothers him the most isn't necessarily the string between his legs or the daily ritual of reopening the stars on his breast. It's that in the book, the joke's on Don Quixote, right? How dare he pine? How dare he try to elevate a wench? How dare he believe in anything when everyone around him just chants a rosary and stares at scriptures they can't read anyway? How dare he be anyone other than Alfonso Quijano, a piss-ant farmer with a skinny horse and way too many books? Don Quixote will take this loss. He will crawl home from the bar where his buddies told him that it was better she leave him now, so he won't be deceiving himself longer. But instead of burning his library, instead of telling him to stay single in their vendetta against transformation, he wishes one person would acknowledge who he's been trying to be forever. So maybe the night of the rueful figure can be less rueful for once. Preface.
Okay.
So I'm doing a book with.
I did not read the poem. That's a response.
Yes. So what? Jonathon has a poem in their half called "Uncomfortable," which talks about this like vague sense of queerness and how you don't necessarily have to be like queer enough to fit on the Pride poster, right? And I wrote a response that was basically like, look, I was on the Pride poster. It fucking sucks. Like, don't ever be on that. Like, they want you to be a certain kind of person that's like nice for the cameras, and I'm just not that way. So I wrote a poem called "Where'd Our Poster Girl Go?" in response to it. One morning they came to the museum and I was gone. Some of them wailed at the white outline. Some of them inspected shreds in the canvas looking for clues. Some of them found straw men to string up and blame, like that straight guy I thought I loved for 3 years. It wasn't his fault. He was the level that you used to straighten your shelves only to realize it's slanted to start with, or else the whole wall leans in on itself. You go to a Pride festival in a Snapdragon dress. He goes as an ally, supporting actor in your bisexuality. But that smile in the photo is you laughing. This is gay. Why is this gay? Your only straight relationship, and you're still making it gay. I wrote no ransom note and no apologies. Why'd they put me on this poster anyway? Poster people have homework, fancy titles, and 501c3s, meetings crowding their calendar and engendering more meetings like dandelions. Facebook friends that met them maybe twice, a smile, and respectable politics that can make the straights open their wallet. But what if I hate everybody? What if I'm too spicy for advertisements? They don't want to hear that, yes, I think the Christian guy did stop speaking a long time ago. And when he said we were abominations, he meant it. They don't want to hear that sexual liberation is cool, but maybe your whole queer book club shouldn't be fucking each other. They don't want to hear that most of the worst people I've met were other queers because they can turn drag queens clawing each other on camera into camp and lazy anarchy. As the girl on the poster, I could really work it. I could be rhinestone shiny one day, giant hat devouring my brows, chenille flower weighing down one side, walking like the world was my Kentucky Derby. And the next day, I'd be derby hat, lumberjack swagger, making your tongue trickle apologies for calling me sir from the back. But secretly, I wanted you to stick with sir. This shit was all pageantry, and I looked at the other poster people and wondered if they suffered in the same way. I showed everyone at the museum an imposter, and the night the mirror showed me the same. Accessories became accomplices. I could wear the scarf, the lace, whatever, and it wouldn't fix the fissures in my identity. It would just cover them so I could still look good on display. Meanwhile, the secret laugh behind the eyes wasn't so happy anymore. Here's the thing about Pride poster people. They want you to be more together, more certain. You can't have those gnats flying around you, and if you have cracks in your foundation, they better not have anything growing out of them. If you can't identify it, neither can the curator, and neither can anyone else, and nobody likes to stand there at the museum and be confused. Hence the hole in their poster right now. Tell them I'm sorry about the mess. Maybe one day I'll be back up there. But if they ask where I went, tell them I'm being uncomfortable for a change. Tell them I'm just living.
I'm glad that applause took a while. It's merging now that I've shared. But Jesse, thank you for being here. Definitely come back.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say that to everyone who's here. Whether you're a reader, whether you're attending, please come back. We want you here. We are inclusive here. And that goes out to everyone on internet land too, whatever's going on out there. Please come to Barb's books.
This is being filmed.
You know, we really appreciate having everyone here. But with that, I just want to say once again, come on Tuesday at 6 p.m. We will have music here. And then come August 12th to hear Caitlin Jones and Donna Featherston and Mac Thorne. I'm sure that you will not be disappointed, unless you didn't want to see me, because I will be here as well. So I appreciate it. I love you, everybody. Thank you so much. We are done for the evening, and now maybe it's cool enough to drink some alcohol. Ed was trying to ply me with it earlier, so maybe now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.